Hello again. Welcome back to the Karuna Chronicles. I'm Don, and I will be your party leader today. In our last two sessions, we went over the two parameters of making choice. The first one is not causing harm or suffering to any living being, and the second one is to cause benefit to all beings. We went over pretty thoroughly what those two mean. Now I want to cover something that is the activity principle that we should be using, or that we can use to make these two choices indelible. And the word in Sanskrit is bodhicitta. Bodhicitta simply means the awakened mind or awakening of mind. And the mind we're speaking about here is your soul or your Christ consciousness or Buddha consciousness. It is your eternal mind. And it is perfect, unblemished, immutable. And so we've discussed that we're a composite human being, that we have ordinary mind, which is involved in our thought process, our feeling body, our physical and sensual inputs that all involve and encompass us as human beings. Intrinsically involved in this external nature is our internal nature of the awakened mind. And we call the process of using this awakening and awakened mind bodhicitta, which also can be translated as the wish for the benefit of all beings. Involved in wishing to benefit or to be of benefit for all beings is something that is really unique to us as humans and remarkable to us as potential. And that is that, once again, we don't want to cause suffering to any being, and we want to cause benefit. But it goes a little bit beyond that, because in the awakened mind, we want all beings to be happy and to be free of suffering, of course, but also to be awakened themselves, to have all of their outward human manifestations emanate from love, from kindness, from generosity, from compassion, from wisdom, from discriminating awareness, and all of the other components that make up this awakened mind. We would like them to awaken themselves. So in order to really do that, we have to start on the process of awakening ourselves. And the first part of the process is definitely using the two parameters of making choice. But that's not quite good enough. It certainly is the basis of moving forward in our lives towards the awakening mind. But having the motivation to do this for all beings is what true bodhicitta is. We want that as we are involved in the process of self-awakening, that others become involved in the process of their own self-awakening. Now, this could certainly denigrate, that's not the right word, diverge into some type of pedagogy or anything like that, certainly not that. This is simply the motivation that we as individuals will not do anything that would impede or hinder anyone else from developing their own awakening mind, and that our highest desire is that they begin the process on their own or continue the process on their own for the benefit of all beings. So as we begin our own process of doing everything for the benefit of all beings. This is really important because this takes us from selfish to selfless. The external things that we go through in our human choice mechanisms are all based in selfishness. And selfishness is not wrong. The will to live is selfish. Wanting to have a family is selfish. Wanting to do the best we can to be a good baseball coach is selfish. But there is an altruistic selfishness in that as well. What we need to do is awaken ourselves to see that we can let go of the external selfishness and become enlightened, use enlightened selfishness. And there are two very different things. The external selfishness is motivated by ego. I want to be a good baseball coach so that, I'll benefit the kids, but then I'll get recognition for myself. And there's really nothing wrong with that. But what we want to do is get to true selflessness and eliminate the idea that we need anything from anyone else for us, that we are the originators and creators of the motivation and the activity to benefit others. Now, this has to include our ordinary mind, but it has to exclude our ordinary ego that tells us that we want this, or we deserve this, or we need this to be satisfied in our lives. The satisfaction, and truly the only satisfaction that we ever get in this life, is the selflessness of compassion, the selflessness of love, the selflessness of generosity. These things are what produce true and lasting happiness and immutable, effervescent joy within us, which is another quality of our natural mind. So, looking at bodhicitta, this is a win-win situation, because as we're taking care of ourselves and eliminating the things that cause suffering, we're also coupling that with the motivation that all other beings are going to benefit from this, and that the motivation that all other beings find their own pathway to awakening is one of the highest things that we could possibly wish for, because it is the wish for enlightenment for others, ourself included. Buddha made the promise, Jesus made the promise that all beings would become enlightened, whether you believe that in the Christian ethic that you go to heaven and stand by the side of God, that's enlightenment, or you believe in the Buddhist ethic that we all, through our own individual journeys, attain enlightenment and become one with everything. It's really the same. But it begins with the choice parameters and bodhicitta. Bodhicitta is super important. It's the wish that all beings become enlightened, happy, and use their choice mechanism to produce these results. Thank you very much. And in our next one, I'll develop bodhicitta a little bit more, and I will start on the 4 immeasurables. Okay? Thank you. If you like this video, hit the like button, and if you want to find out what's coming, hit the subscribe button. We want this to be an open forum, so we welcome your comments and questions, and we'll endeavor to answer them as quickly as we can. Again, thank you very much.